Hey, Steve Gamache here. Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. This is the Takamura Chromax Gyuto 210mm knife. This is a very interesting combination of materials and performance and value. So we'll take a look at it. The steel that this uses in the hard core steel, it's a 3-layer construction. The cutting steel is known as Chromax. It's a semi-stainless steel, and it has about 5% chromium. So that core steel at the edge will start to patina a little bit on you and get a light patina. It gets a patina fairly quickly, almost a little bit like a blue steel, but not quite that quick. But it will show a little bit of patina. The steel is quite hard at 64 to 65 Rockwell. It will take a really sharp edge, and it will have excellent edge retention because of that. It sharpens kind of like a good blue origami steel, so it sharpens almost like a carbon steel, but it's semi-stainless and it's got some great edge retention capabilities. So the construction is soft stainless cladding on either side of that harder core steel, and the cladding has a hammered pattern or tsushime finish on it, so it's got some nice interest to the pattern, as well as helps with a little bit with food release and food sticking. The weight and dimensions will be pretty similar from knife to knife. This one's 162 grams or 5.7 ounces. And the weight is, I already did that. The edge length is 212 millimeters, about 8.3 inches. And the overall length is about 13.2 inches on this. The spine is pretty much the same thickness all the way down, so it's about 1.8. It's a thin knife, 1.8 millimeters all the way down. And then we get to the taper where you've got a fairly generous grind on this. You can see how high it goes, and so the tip's nice and thin on these, and then they are also ground nice and thin at the edge, so the performance on these is top flight. They've got basically, to me, laser-like performance with a little bit of meat on the blade for a little bit of stiffness, but the performance is definitely, I would consider it in the laser class. Blade height is 45.7 millimeters at the back of the knife, so it's almost 46. It's got a nice kind of conventional height for this style of knife. There's good clearance for your fingers. You can see the bolster into the neck area is not too wide, so you've got a nice spot for your fingers. The handle is a stabilized wood, resin impregnated wood known as paca wood. This is kind of a blonde kind of color. It's interesting, got some kind of pinkish hues to it a little bit. I guess you could call it reddish pinkish. It just looks really nice. And nice fit and finish all the way around. You can see the tang is partial. So the tang comes back here and then stops and then probably thins up inside the blade, and that helps reduce the weight. And so what that does for you is it'll bring the balance point back a little bit more than where it would be if it was a full-on tang. And you can see there's where the balance point is. So it's a little behind a pinch grip. If you tend to grip it like this, it'll feel kind of pretty normal. If you grip it like this, you'll notice a little bit of handle weight bias to it, but it's still kind of fairly neutral and pretty flickable. It's a pretty light knife. The fit and finish is really good. They've polished the spine a little bit. They've polished the choil a little bit and rounded that enough, so it's quite comfortable. Excellent 6, maybe 7 out of 10 on my scale edge out of the box as far as sharpness goes. The grinds are well done. It's a nice straight blade, and again, the performance is just top flight. I guess let's get our beauty shot for this guy here. So you've got some kanji on the right side of the blade, and then their logo embossed in. The kanji, I think it's hand chiseled. It kind of feels like it. The left side of the blade, it does not have that, but it has that tsushime or hammered finish on it. Again, once there's a fairly long blade road here, a wide blade road in terms of the grind area. Once you hit that, the food release is quite good. So it just depends on what you're cutting, but again, that texture to the sides of the blade near the top helps food release a bit. The cutting board profile looks like this. Mark had to buy a ton of these to get him to make a 210. I think he said he had to buy 500. And this is an excellent knife. I heartily recommend it. I truly enjoyed using this knife. It's a great performer. It's got a good value price for what you get. The steel is excellent. There's really not much not to like about this knife. The profile is just pretty good all around profile. Nothing crazy about it. You've got a fair amount of belly towards the tip. I can get up in there on this particular knife. The tips, can vary a little bit from knife to knife. A little bit of a flattish area towards the heel, not a lot, but it kind of flows into a stop at the heel. This is just a good all-around multiple technique style profile. But again, a great knife to use. It's light, it's good looking, the steel's excellent, the performance is top notch, and it's just a really, really top flight package. So if you've been thinking about the R2 version from Takamura, this is an excellent alternative at a little lower price point. The steel is really cool. I don't know. Let's see if we can maybe show you some of that patina. I don't know if we can kind of catch that. Can you kind of catch that patina there? It's a little hard to show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it, but a little bit of a light patina but full stainless on the cladding. So just a cool knife. So this is the Takamura Chromax Gyuto 210mm knife.